far as pro QA, I don't think it will benefit Washington, D.C. As far as like smaller cities, it probably works well with them.
You know, when we were monitoring and listening to the calls, they were really inconsistent. So you may call, you know, we might get 6 calls for the same incident, and every single one of them would be different. You know, someone might ask for a description, someone may not. Someone may ask for a telephone number, someone may not. They were really inconsistent information. We needed something that gave them a guideline.
The difference is that you have the software in place to ensure that you ask every question. I don't have to leave it up to your memory. I don't have to leave it up to your experience.
For this to be the nation's capital and a communication center in the nation's capital, it's like, okay, it's about time that we set forth standards for everybody across the whole United States.
The rewarding thing is, like I say, getting everyone to look at the big picture of this operation, making sure everyone is asking the crucial questions they need to ask each and every time, so we know that we're not liable, we're not putting the officers at risk, so we're getting all the pertinent information we need to send out.
And you know, you would hear dispatchers say, well, where's more information? We didn't get this, or we didn't get that, or you know, where's the description? You don't really hear that as much anymore. You know, a lot more information is coming in.
We receive about 4,000 calls into the 911 center a day. It was about 1.6, 1.7 a year. 1.7 million a year. It's a lot. I had been trying to implement the protocols for quite some time, and there was quite a bit of management resistance, and it was called Char's harebrained idea, and it was considered a crutch for people. People didn't understand how important it was. We had a major incident that sort of brought to light the need to have standardized protocols, standardized training, and especially the quality assurance. Those 3 things were critical.
My reaction was, we were blown away, because what we were thinking was, how are they going to consolidate all of this information into 3 protocols? It's a year later and I feel like a pro. I really do. The protocols have allowed us to be more professional, and when you're on the other side, I know we don't hear ourselves. When I listen to myself back on a tape, I feel like an expert. I really do. And I feel like I'm giving our public and our citizens the information that they're asking for in a concise and in an educated way. We're communicating better with our customers.
We didn't need to change our way. They can change the other things, but as a police dispatcher, we're always the ones right. You know, everyone else is wrong, and we were like, I don't know. A year later, I like EPD a lot. I think it's made a world of difference for the call takers, dispatchers, and the citizens.
A year into it, I think that we would not, it was a good decision to do it. I would not have done anything too much differently what we did. I think it ran its natural course.
A year later, we are moving very strongly toward accreditation. We do want to become a center of excellence for all 3 protocols. So now we can handle all of the calls that come in professionally and very well. We had a major fire incident. The person handled the call. She actually got Call Taker of the Year. And she handled the call smoothly, professionally, and gave all the right information. We didn't get any negative feedback from the fire department. Normally they're calling to say, you didn't ask this, you didn't ask that. So now we're getting all the right information. I couldn't be any more pleased. I really couldn't be any more pleased. I'm happy.
Some of our successes are we were able to demonstrate to the police department where we are actually dispatching calls faster now. We're getting them processed and out. Even though all the information isn't there, we're getting responders initially started a lot quicker, sometimes within a minute or 2, or 2 minutes sooner than we were before. while we were gathering information to enter a complete call. Now, after we get through the safety questions, it's in, we're sending people, and then we're updating them as they're on the way. So they're arriving on the scene and making more apprehensions. In fact, 2009 has seen a dramatic crime decrease in Prince George's County. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say it's all attributed to EPD, but certainly we have been able to increase or decrease the amount of time it takes for us to process these calls.
I came over to Evanston. Of course, I was aware that they are being dispatched by the Prince George's County Police Department and have done so for many, many years. So we rely on them specifically for communications. Sometimes over the years that the experience with the county communications has not been the greatest. And it really isn't to do with performance, it's to do with workload. The county police has such a huge workload that we're just another, more or less a burden on them. So it hasn't been great. And I actually pursued looking at other agencies to dispatch for us to relieve some of that pressure and maybe do a little bit better job. One of the things I've noticed over the past year or so is that it seems to be getting better as far as the way they dispatch, as far as the way they put us in queue. It's not the same, it's gotten better, and I've actually started to think maybe I need to stay on this because the resources are so great that why should I move if they're going to be able to handle it and do a good job. I was unaware of this system that they've gone to, the protocol, which more or less will lead the dispatchers through how they're supposed to handle the calls and what they're supposed to do. And when I learned, I was a little bit surprised because I'm thinking it's gotten better. It must be because of this protocol system. I don't know any other answer. We handled an incident where there was a possibility of a gun, and I was very impressed that they did an outstanding job. Low level, no problems, but they were prepared and they were sending all the officers. And again, now knowing of the system, I'm sure they were responding to a prescribed method, rather than just the dispatcher's own ambitions or ideas.
When they told us they were going to go to a fire dispatch procedure based on similar protocol, we a little bit of, like I said, a little bit of trepidation at first. But to be honest, I don't believe there was any realization in the field as to when it took place, and if anything, we just realized that hey, we're actually getting a little more information now than we might have otherwise.
Like with any new technology, with any new protocol, there's always sort of a honeymoon period. But we can see in the efficiency of the way they handle the call for service. We can see by the reduction of unnecessary radio traffic. We can see by the general response to calls for service that the protocols seem to be working. We are getting the information out, we are getting the information out quickly, and we are getting the information to the people who need the information immediately.
Some of the initial issues was the lack of information that we were receiving from an officer safety standpoint. We kind of wanted to receive information of any weapons involved, more or a better description of suspects involved or the victims or the complainants or whoever was giving us a call. With the questions protocol in place, they have significantly noticed that they are definitely receiving a lot more information that's very pertinent, relevant, and sufficient to letting us know what's going on to help better prepare us for when we respond to a situation.
I really think that the most rewarding thing for us was just that confirmation of, okay, we really are doing this right. We're following the protocol correctly. We have good procedures. Then you're like, I feel much more comfortable now knowing that,
What we need to do is ensure that we are providing the highest quality of service we can to the public. When you think about 911 centers, the public doesn't have a choice, in terms of who they call. They have to call the 911 center responsible for that area. So it's incumbent upon us to ensure that when we receive that call, we're doing the very best with it that we possibly can. And we want to ensure that not only do we do the right thing with that first call, but we do the right thing with the second, third, fourth, fifth, and all the calls that come in. So we have to be very consistent.
Oh, I think it's amazing, you know, especially the second center in the world and the first center in the entire United States. It's great.
In fact, I think it's quite amazing that Hartford County was highlighted to receive this award.
I think what it means to me and what I hope it means to all of our dispatchers, I like to believe that I'm a cheerleader for the great job that they do. We have great dispatchers. They come to work every day and they do their absolute best for our field providers and for our citizens, and they're courteous and professional. And it's great for me to tell them that every day, how proud they should be. I go to other centers and I see how nice our center is and how good, you know, our people are. And for an outside agency to actually listen to our dispatchers and review our numbers and look at our procedures to say, yes, you are above average, you are an excellent center. I think that outside validation is the most important thing.
I think the reason that I would give you the biggest benefit that we've seen is it gave our people ownership. They know that we're only going to be as good as they use this system, as they implement it, that they understand it, that they train well on it, and that they use it properly.
You just had to remain focused. Like when we looked at the book even, sometimes that looked, when we looked at the 20 points of accreditation, that looked a little overwhelming, till we actually broke it down and said, okay, point 1, what do we need to do to get this done? And we can do it. Then point 2. So looking at it as a whole, it was like, wow, we're going to be able to do this. But then when we broke it down point by point, it was a lot easier. I think it says that we're great. I mean, a lot of us work and live here, and people can have that comfort and know when they call 911 in Hartford County, they're going to get the same level of service, which is going to be a very high level of service, no matter what time of the day, no matter where they're calling from, and it's just a great feeling.
The leadership team is like a great hockey coach. They saw the championship way before we did. And so we had to have purpose, values, and vision. And they had that vision to get to being the very best. The coach or the leadership team brought us the tools, gave us the education, gave us the plays, and then everybody became the champion.
Why would you just do one really well and the rest, not worry about it? It didn't make sense to us. It's not about us, it's about who we serve. So 100% on every call, that's our goal. And if I'm calling in and I have a choking child, I don't want someone giving me an 80% call.
I took the phone call from Carlin, who was screaming on the other end of the phone, which was really, really exciting. And I guess the first thing that I really reflected on was, like, I was just so incredibly proud of my staff and what they had done. They just cheered. I mean, they were just so thrilled that we had accomplished that. So it was a really fun day, really fun day. The next thing that I sort of thought about was, I just reflected on the things that had to change in our department in order to reach what we did. And we've really changed a lot of things in 911 in the last 10 years. And so I guess my thoughts sort of went to all of those things, you know, the attitudes that needed to change, and the fact that we had a goal. You know, we really never had any goals before in 911, we just did what we did. So I think I thought a lot about all of that and where we'd come from.